The Bladensburg Peace Cross is a World War I Veterans Memorial that was the focal point of a Supreme Court victory just a few years ago. That victory is providing us an opportunity to restore faith, expressions of faith, all across America. Hi, I'm Stuart Shepard, and this is a special edition of First Liberty Live. We're here in Bladensburg, Maryland, standing next to the Peace Cross that was recently restored. They spent months this summer cleaning it up, fixing it up. Why now? Well, you may remember it was the subject of that Supreme Court case, and while the case was ongoing, they didn't want to put out the money to fix something that might be torn down. Well, First Liberty Institute worked hard to preserve this memorial because of what it represents, but also because of what the precedent would do all across America. Little history on this: it was put up by Gold Star moms back after World War I. They saved their money, put it together, didn't have quite enough, got some help from the American Legion and others to put this memorial here. The shape of it is a reminder to them. They picked the shape in the shape of a cross because that's what they had seen photos of coming back from Europe, from the graveyards there in Europe, where those who had given their lives, who had sacrificed, given the ultimate sacrifice in the effort, in the war effort there, this is what they saw as a grave marker. Since their sons didn't come home, they wanted this to be, in a sense, the gravestone for them. And one of the moms even said that in so many words. You may notice there's a logo in the middle of it, a circular logo. That is the American Legion logo. And that's the connection that First Liberty had. We represented the American Legion in preserving this. I'm going to give you an idea here. This is a complicated intersection. We're just going to walk you around. This is where three different roadways all come together. Just follow me here. This is where three different roadways all come together in this very complex intersection. Traffic going all directions. I nearly get hit by a car every time I'm here. But when this cross was first put up, it was just by the side of a road on private property that belonged to the American Legion. When they expanded the highway, which by the way is the War Memorial Highway in memory of World War I, the people who served in World War I, when they expanded this all out, well, this became government property. Nobody complained about the memorial or anything about it for 90-some years until someone realized, hey, wait a minute, this is on government property. And you may know that we've defended crosses all across America. From the Mount Soledad Cross in California, it was on government property. The Mojave Desert Cross in the Mojave Desert, government property. And different solutions were handled in each of those cases. This one, though, was interesting to us because, as Hiram Sasser points out, this is in a location where you can't make this private property. And the cross is so old, 100 years old, and by the way, it's hollow inside. When they did the restoration, they took pictures inside of it. It's like 3 feet across, and they sprayed the inside and filled the cracks and whatnot with this little contraption that they lowered on ropes with cameras and lights. It's very cool. They couldn't make this private property, so it had to be government property. So we knew this was a great case because this monument was put here in memory of the soldiers who died in World War I from Prince George's County, Maryland. And it's in a location that can only be declared to be okay for a monument like this to be sitting upon, if you followed all that. Well, here's the key, and this is what's so important, and then you're going to hear from Kelly Shackelford. When the Supreme Court decided this, and this is part of our strategy at First Liberty Institute, when they decided this, it was 7-2 to protect this monument, this memorial. But inside that was a 5-4 decision that basically said we're done with a particular legal test that Kelly's going to tell you about, and it started the process. They said we're going to ignore that test going forward. And now it's gone completely, which gives us a great opportunity, which we'll talk about at the end of this video. Right now, though, I want you to hear what Kelly Shackelford had to say at the American Legion Hall today as he spoke to the gathered crowd there to talk about veterans and the importance of preserving this memorial for Bladensburg, Maryland.
You know, sometimes things that don't look so good turn out to be used by the Lord as things that turn out to be good. One of the results of this case is we learned a lot of things about this memorial that weren't known because of the history, the research, and there's much more appreciation now than there was for the Peace Cross. But I just want to tell you a legal other thing, a connection that you might not know about. And that is when we argued this case, the big the big precedent that was used is there were sort of these government being anti-religious, which is not what our Constitution says. It was an old case called Lemon. And when we got to the Supreme Court, we asked them to maybe get rid of this 50-year-old case so that we could have fuller religious freedom, not have this hostility against religious symbols. That's not our country. And we won the case, but it was just 5-4. They said, well, we're not going to follow Lemon, but they didn't reverse it. But then a few years later, another case came along, the Coach Kennedy case. This is the coach who, after the game, went by himself to a knee to say a prayer after the game, and he was fired. And we took his case. By the way, Coach Kennedy was a Marine. Okay? So we got to the Supreme Court, and something amazing happened, and that is the court, really going off of what happened in this case, took it the next step and said, it's time to get rid of Lemon, and they reversed and threw it out. I look at this memorial, I look at the 49 young men who died and that memorial going up. I look at the people who put that memorial up and the people who are still fighting. And the interesting thing is, it's still fighting for freedom as we speak. It's resulting in coaches now having religious freedom, and people at their schools having religious freedom. So it's amazing how it's still fighting for our freedoms, and it goes back to this wonderful case that will always read the American Legion as the beginning of the case. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Philip.
Got Jeremy Dice with me, who's an attorney with First Liberty Institute. We've got a new initiative that's based on that change in the law that's all about restoring faith, expressions of faith in America. Tell us about it.
You know, for so many years we've had to defend memorials like this, or monuments like the Ten Commandments monuments, or even the Missing Man table that is set up inside the American Legion Hall behind us here right now. And we've had to push those off. But thankfully, because of Coach Kennedy's case, because of the American Legion case in 2019, we can now go from defense to offense. We're always going to defend those memorials and other expressions of religion in the public square. That's never going to change. But because we've been able to change the law with these cases, now we're going to go on offense. So those cases, those memorials that have been taken off of private property or public property, have been put on mothballs inside of some storage facility somewhere, or have been transferred, or even those nativity scenes that every year seem to be taken off of courthouse squares around the country. That's a thing in the past now. Now those memorials, those monuments, those traditions in the public square involving religion, those are now, in the words of the American Legion case, presumed to be constitutional. They're part of a long-standing tradition in our country. And because of that, we're going to go to the places where they've taken down these monuments or memorials. We're going to ask the courts to reopen those cases. And as we reopen those cases, we're going to say we need to put those back up. It's no longer good enough that we're defending them. We want to go back and find those that are down and put them back up. I find that particularly interesting just being here today. And I feel this to my bones today. I was at the memorial earlier today. I just saw one of the descendants that we worked really close with defending that memorial. And it's been almost 100 years since what one mother called her son's gravestone in Bladensburg was erected. It's going to stand there now for another 100 years. I don't know why monuments and memorials are that important, but there's a reason why we have them, to remember people like William Redmond and John Henry Seaburn and all the other men, the 49 men that are listed on that memorial, and all those around the country. When we put something up, we remember something that we've forgotten, that we don't see anymore. Those mothers wanted that up there so that their sons would be remembered far after they were gone.
And as humans, we tend to forget things very quickly. So those memorials, monuments, even something as simple as a Missing Man table here at the American Legion, it's all to help us keep remembering the things that are so important. We want you to be part of this initiative, and what's so exciting about it is it's a chance finally to go on offense. We spent so much time defending religious freedom around the country. This is a chance for you to get involved and actually go on offense. If you live in a community where they took down a Ten Commandments monument, it's probably been put away somewhere. It's time to wheel it back out because the law is now on your side. If you had prayer that was banned from a school board meeting or maybe the county commission meetings where they had an opening invocation, start the prayer again because the law is now on your side. If you've seen a case where someone was told they couldn't wear a yarmulke or couldn't display a menorah in a public setting on government property, put it back where it was, on top of your head or in the park, because the law is now on your side. You can learn more about this at a special website we've set up. It's all about restoring faith in America. So the website is RFIA, for Restoring Faith in America.org, RFIA.org. We'll put a link to that underneath this video. Jeremy, thanks for chatting with us, and we're glad that you got to be part of this special day here in Bladensburg, Maryland.